Welcome everyone. Happy Wednesday. And let's see, today is March 24th, 2021. My name is Jared. This is Engineering the Markets. Let's go ahead and get started. All right, so turnaround Tuesday. We had essentially a drawdown and an engulfing structure that occurred in the markets yesterday after a decent gap up and push on Monday. So overall, we're still kind of trapped somewhere within the 390 range. SPY is giving us a lot of mixed signals as some of our sectors are rotating. And we're really just seeing a lot of price action that's not super clear. So we had multiple days higher that pushed it to all-time highs. And then we'll have things like a down day, indecision, up day, down day, leading to a lot of just overall chop. There hasn't been really a lot of momentum in either direction quite yet. And we're kind of just barely hanging on to some of our bullish theses as we see more and more selling show up intraday. 4-hour overall look is that we're kind of, caught between a lot of moving averages, a little bit of a range that formed here between about 388.30 and some of the highs from Monday. So a little bit of range bound trading right now. And this is pretty typical when you're sitting at a value zone. It can be hard to move away from value. And if you return to value, the market has to consolidate some of that return structure back to what is typically where the fair price is for the market. And we can see that on our 30-day volume profile. 389.83, nothing really has changed here. We're looking at 30-day, 1 hour time frame. And we can see how we're just oscillating between value zones to the low side, where we get these inflection points, value zones to the high side, maybe this little shelf right here, some value was put there. And then we're just kind of going back and forth as the market tries to pick a direction for us. So it's been a little challenging to get some momentum unless you're playing certain sectors. And there have been some sectors that have been weak, some sectors that have been strong, and some that have been rather flat or just overall similar to the SPY. And our 10-day, 30-minute, 394, so the high of Monday, that's still a target if we were to be bullish. We are sitting at the VA low in this short time frame. So playing that range, low to high, high to low, the thesis would be if we could move away from some of this pre-market value that we're setting, we would target VPOC. And we do have a little bit of a shelf here, which would bring us back to some of the highs from yesterday. So if you're short term, sort of in and out, intraday, or a couple days worth of trading price action, there are some opportunities here, but it's very short-lived. There's not a clear direction that we can call at this point. QQQ, we're sticking with the thesis that we're stuck in a range, a much larger range than the SPY at the moment, but we can see that the 50 moving average gave us a pull down yesterday. We had a decent push off of some of the low points, 310 from Friday, and we actually made it all the way up to about 320. So that was a good push in the tech growth, sort of just NASDAQ sectors. But we did see that drawdown yesterday. There was some selling to be had in this area from the 50. 4-hour, we're kind of sticking with the idea that the 200 is giving us some trouble. We would love to see the market build some energy in this area, somewhere in the middle of the range, and give us a push through the 200. And that could be a really nice back test of 325. At that point, they could hold up here and then break out. But we're slowly climbing this ladder of low point, midpoint, and then we're trying to get up to this high point to break out. If not, then we'll likely see a back test and a rollover once again, probably with some significant selling. That would be looking more like this sort of idea, where we started here, built some pressure here, got up here, and then failed to break out. 30-day 1 hour value sitting at 316. So, markets are right in the middle. There's not a lot to be had here. We did make a valiant effort to get away from that area on Monday. Looks like we just kind of drew back into it yesterday. And now we're sitting in pre-market slightly above value. So once again, kind of sticking with the idea that there is some attempts being made in this this index to get higher, but we haven't seen the clear breakout, the major breakout of the neckline quite yet. And then short term, same idea, 316.50 is value. Therefore, we want to kind of treat the intraday similar to the 30-day time frame, where you're playing high to low and low to high. If you're trading against value, you want to kind of always be targeting value for your first target. And that would mean that we're kind of looking more for a fade play today. We do have a shelf right here, which is the only reason to not consider that sort of fade idea, because we're sitting at this shelf. And this shelf right here has similar value to the short-term VPOC, which is the longer-term VPOC as well. So 316.7 on the 30-day, on the 10-day, 316.50, very similar. So there's a short-term shelf that we can hold, and we can easily move away from value in the short term, while the long term needs to prove a little bit more to us by breaking through some of our levels. Let's see. All right. And then yesterday we had a very nice short bearish thesis on the IWM that ended up playing itself out pretty well. I was looking more at the technical side for the fact that this was starting to lean more bearish. The reason I stated that was we didn't get as much of a push from the Friday low point. We didn't have a gap up, and we also didn't really see a lot of momentum on Monday. So essentially, if the overall markets were not super strong, they could be targeting this index more significantly. And we did see that mostly due to the fact that financials and, interestingly, biotech was down pretty bad yesterday. For some context, if I bring up the IWM and I bring up the Visualize tab, this is the representation from yesterday. So it's pulling basically the close of yesterday, where IWM pretty much closed at the lows. And you can see healthcare is a pretty big component of IWM. It's got a blend of biotech and some pharmaceuticals, and there's some notable healthcare names in here. But stocks like Invex, which we've traded in the past in the chat room, were down big. B-Bio was down pretty big. Fate and NTRA were down big. So just a ton of red in healthcare, along with, obviously, everything else is looking pretty red, but financials were down pretty significantly. And this holds another big chunk of market cap for the IWM. You also have industrials really not putting in much of a fight yesterday and fading from the highs that we've been seeing. So really, there was nothing carrying the IWM yesterday. The only thing really with any green was utilities down here, and it's a very small piece of IWM. So we did see that breakdown through the 20 and through the 50 on the daily. Let me bring that back up. So we gapped below the 20 and we broke through the 50. So that's overall not a great look for the IWM. If we bring it down here, what we're doing is we are basically threatening to test these lows. So 215 is really our line in the sand from a longer term perspective. We do not want to see this level lost in IWM. So ultimately, we need to see a reason to be long in this index product once again, as it has been one of our stronger performers in the past couple of months. But the threatening look that we have from yesterday is not a great one. There was a lot of selling. There was a lot of volume on that selling, and it was almost a full court selling event. Everything in the index was down for the most part. If we go to a shorter time frame, 30-day, 1 hour. Let's look at where value sits. Value sitting above us. So short term, we are maybe looking for that bounce idea. We're coming off of the VA lows, 217.50. We could fade back and back test some of these areas of previous support that may turn now into resistance as we have broken through. We have a downtrend line. That would be our first spot to maybe consider. We'll just expand that out. So we'd maybe target here. This would be a first back test. And then if we really get going on the bounce, we could come back to VPOC and back test this uptrend line, which has been in play for quite a while. So here, 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 and then we tried to hold and we broke down. This is kind of where bulls should have held and they didn't. So big sell-off. And then the 10-day, 30-minute, we're pretty far removed from value. This is the risk of using the VA lows and the VA highs as fade plays. If you do use them, the risk is that momentum to the downside away from value will occur if there is selling or buying. And that's why you tend to be relatively short-term mindset, and you have some pretty clear stop losses in place. But that said, we are far removed. I still think the thesis here is you kind of fade this back to the upside. So you look for more of a bounce here, and then you short into resistance at this point. So we are losing clear levels here, and now we have some resistance zones to play against, if there continues to be weakness. So that's the overall look of the market right now. We're getting a little bit of chop. There's some up, there's some down. We've talked about sectors. We've talked about some strength in certain areas. We noted utilities have been somewhat outperforming recently. We'll look at that really quickly. Utilities had a really nice day yesterday. We broke through a downtrend line after kind of fading and holding this area. So we had sort of a bull flag that formed, a nice push, a consolidation over price, and then a breakout. Let me bring this to this look. So nice breakout. Would love to see this continue in this sector. We noted that healthcare had a lot of proving to do, and it was the first sign of maybe some momentum, but then a big turnaround bar. We're still just kind of right at support here. We're in a range, but there's a little bit of risk to the downside here, especially with what we saw in biotech yesterday. So if they're going to fade it higher, we kind of want to see a couple of candidates start to green up. Real estate has been outperforming. So real estate had a similar look to utilities. And the idea here is that people are kind of looking to high yield at this point. Utilities, real estate, to some degree bonds, which we'll look at in just a second. And they're kind of flocking to this for the short term because of the fact that they can get a decent yield in these sectors. So Real estate, utilities, and then consumer discretionaries held up fairly well. I do like the look of this overall, where we have a nice push. Once again, that very shallow pullback, nice what could be considered a breakout bar, and then continuation. We're kind of clearing this downtrend area, and the weekly is looking really good. Obviously, better prices down here, but the structure is looking bullish in this area. So that's paired with the fact that we have weakness in financials, which we talked about yesterday. This is our 4th day of selling in financials with almost no sign of support quite yet. Short term, it looks like we're starting the day off even lower. So I'd be looking to see if any of this can hold, maybe some of these lows down here. But the risk is this low here, which is, if we go to the weekly, the previous all-time highs. So we do have some downside risk in financials right now, which is hurting IWM, and it's also leading to not weakness in the SPY, but a battle in the SPY. Tech kind of helping, financials kind of hurting. For questions in the chat, I'll get to those after I'm done presenting. I know you'll have a couple questions, but I will get to those. We also see that energy continues to basically fade from these highs. We saw crude, natural gas has really not shown us much as of late, and to very small degrees heating oil. But crude is the most notable, really draw down significantly over the past week. Crude maybe started the week around 67. We're already down to a low of 57, and that's really hurt the energy sector. So we put in a significant high, and we're coming back to some low points down here. If I draw it out, it's kind of the low of this candle, the high of this candle. Definitely looking for a bounce play. Energy is weak in the short term, strong on the weekly, and really we're looking for an area of interest for support. This one has faded quite a bit, and it looks like some of the volume is drying up. So definitely interested in a bounce play in energy. Just got to try and find the right spot. And we'll look at crude just to kind of confirm that sell-off occurred. We had quite a few days of selling in crude. And this is from the 68 high. Looks like crude made it up there down to about 57. So a lot of mixture, a lot of blend of different things happening. And one interesting thing that occurred, let me go to my futures. No, let me go to this. Okay. So the dollar. We brought this up very rarely. It's something you want to maybe look at once a week and just always kind of just spot check it, make sure nothing crazy is going on. But the dollar has over time been forming a base. We've had selling in the dollar pretty much since the COVID lows, where essentially we had capitulation, a big run up in the dollar. Where am I? Yeah, I'm on the weekly. Just trying to make sure I'm pulling the right data point. Let me do the 5-year one day. Okay, so COVID lows around March 18th of last year, and then we've had a lot of selling, just down, down, down. What's happening in the short term, however, is there is a basing pattern being formed. The dollar hit a major low around 89.50. We can see that on the weekly, that coincides with a lot of value back here. So we hit this low. We bounced pretty significantly, and this would normally be just another downtrend retracement on the longer time frame. But then we put in this higher low. And when you put in this higher low, you now want to see, okay, is this going to be the potential for a trend change in the shorter time frames. If that happens, can the longer time frame see continuation, some sort of short squeeze thesis, where pretty much everybody knows that the dollar has been weak, the dollar continues to be weak, but if you're short in the wrong spot, you can see short-term pullbacks that are too significant for you to handle, and that can lead to momentum to the upside, short squeezes, et cetera, et cetera. We're starting to see that form. To me, this is the time where we saw a low, a high, a higher low, a higher high, and they're holding the previous high. So we've had quite a few areas of interest that continue to show bullish trend change thesis ideas. Yesterday or Monday, and was that Monday? Yeah, sorry. Yesterday, Monday and yesterday, we were threatening to basically break out, and it looks as if as of this open, we're actually clearing this high. So this is not a great view if you're bullish in things like commodities, which like to have weak dollar performance. Some people will look at this as the potential for weakness in things like cryptocurrencies, because a lot of our crypto analysis comes from the comparison of the coin or altcoin that you're looking at relative to the US dollar. There's various ways to interpret a technical view of different charts and different price action, but one of the most common is just looking at where is the price of the coin relative to the US dollar. If you have high demand and low supply in anything, commodities, currencies, whatever, that can lead to price appreciation, prices going up. But another thing that can lead to price appreciation is if your thing that you're comparing it to goes down. So like any ratio, you want your numerator to go up and your denominator to go up, and you're looking at all bullish, all markup prices, et cetera, et cetera. If any of those things change, if your numerator starts putting pressure, aka the US dollar, that can lead to weakness, consolidation, or just an overall turnaround point in those markets. So some of the fear potentially in crude may have come from what people are starting to see in the dollar, and that has already pretty much played itself out. We'll see how much more downside is necessary, but it seems like that's already it's a pretty big rug pull for crude. It's down $10 per barrel, but it's also something to keep in mind if you're interested in crypto, because if I bring up something like our Bitcoin chart, give me 1 second, just bring this over. And by no means am I a crypto expert, but I do know how to read charts. What I've got is just a very simple BTC to USD chart. And what I have is the 9 and the 26 EMA, a little bit more aggressive moving averages. But we're seeing Bitcoin breaking all-time highs and yet pulling down below their previous all-time highs and consolidating. As the dollar continues to strengthen, if it continues to strengthen, I want to see if this is going to be some sort of bull trap in the maybe like the weekly perspective, because there is pressure being put on this asset relative to the fact that the dollar is starting to strengthen. If that changes on a dime, which it could at any point, then obviously this could be a buying opportunity for higher highs. But given that we have a reason to be a little bit counter trend in this perspective, you definitely want to keep an eye on this. And we're seeing a little bit of follow through this morning, which is interesting. I have to assume that there is still a little bit of momentum left in BTC, but if the dollar continues to strengthen, especially if we get some sort of short squeeze in the dollar, then I really would want to maybe take the opportunity here maybe to consider locking in profits, or to at least be a little hesitant on adding to a position. And that's with the perspective of the weekly in mind. We are a bit removed from support, and the perspective of the monthly in that we are quote unquote extended relative to this market. You know, this market can go on for months away from any sort of dynamic support, but the drawdowns can also be relatively significant. So if you're protective of what could potentially be large profits or just a great bull run, you may want to look into the dollar and see whether or not your thesis to be bullish is actually making sense relative to the fact that this is compared to the US dollar. So some ideas to carry forward. Short term today, I think there is some potential for some of the Bitcoin plays. I've already seen stocks like Can, Mara, and Riot give us a gap up open. So Can especially was kind of a nice one yesterday. Lots of selling into a very significant gap up open. Maybe we get some sort of short squeeze on the intraday. But longer term, daily, weekly, monthly perspective, be aware that there are pressures in these areas in both commodities, crypto, and anything that tracks the US dollar. Now, you know, I guess the elephant in the room is that all of our equities technically want a US dollar to be weak as well. We've seen major correlation over the past year with a weak dollar and a strong equities market. And if you don't believe me, what I'd like to invite you to look at is one of the most interesting correlations here. Anytime we saw the dollar really get strong on the weekly perspective, this is going to be 921 to 928. And if you get some sort of like false breakout look, 1026 to 11.2, let's go to where our SPY is. So we said 921 to 928. This was a low point in the market. 1026 to 11.2, low point in the market. During all of this consolidation, if you had been watching the dollar, you may have gotten at least some amount of confirmation to the fact that some of these lows may hold, and they were actually great buying points for equities. So, you know, putting all this together and the fact that these markets do correlate, if you watch multiple areas of interest, you can find confirmation outside of a chart. You know, outside of the technicals, there may be something else that's screaming, hey, this is kind of a great area to go long, or a great area to lock in profits, or a great area to go short. You know, the combination of whichever thesis you want to play out. And then finally, I just wanted to note that bonds have been seeing a little bit of upside movement. We're seeing 1, 2, 3, 4 days to the upside in TLT. This is compared with the fact that yields have been falling over the past couple days, which has led to some strength in tech. So everything is still correlating here. We're seeing that drawdown from these highs. And therefore, you know, the thesis remains. If this starts to bounce, tech may once again get weak. If bonds fade from this multiple uptrending off the lows, once again, you know, financials might start to pick up instead of tech. So, you know, constantly be looking for whether this continues or whether there's a turnaround point, and you can sort of swap your focus in and day out based on these correlations. So, all right, with that said, that's my time. My name is Jared. This has been Engineering the Markets. Hope y'all have a great Wednesday. Really interesting to look at some of these correlations with y'all, and we'll see if we can find any more over the next couple of days. So Take it easy and talk to y'all soon.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the pre-market prep. I hope everyone's having an amazing morning. Hope you had a great day yesterday. Good morning, Norm. How are you doing today?
Hey, good morning, buddy. I'm doing well. I hope you are too.
Yeah, doing very good today, guys. Good morning. Good morning. All right, guys, let's get to it. Let's look at what we had on our list yesterday, starting with AMC, which was extremely active. Wow, this took such a huge hit yesterday, and it has been over the last couple of days, guys. Let's take a look here on our 5 minute, where we are right here, 323. Very active pre-market action, and this is one of the ones I liked yesterday alongside Apple. They looked pretty decent, right? It wasn't a great day as far as a watch list, but I gotta tell you, a lot of stuff ended up trading pretty nice. Here's AMC, beautiful pop, and then just completely collapses right to very early on, right to the low of the day, and then just never looks back, guys. Look at this drop here. Thus try to recover a little bit here, but cannot get above. Look at this level we had here. This 1131, that was the low of the pre-market, right? We put that right on there. It was also the low of the day right out of the gates when the markets opened up. And then just a beautiful drop on AMC here, guys. Just look at this, just really collapsing down, going all the way down to 1038. And then you did get a little bit of some action here in the after hours, but again, another drop later in the after hours as well. So AMC, insane. Today, they're actually looking very active this morning. If you can see here, nice comeback. They're up 2.7, 2.6 million. Definitely in play. We'll be looking at this one today as well. We also had NEO on our list. Let's go back to our 5 minute. Again, a little bit of an indecision here, just trying to get going, but it just, again, cannot hold. And another great short opportunity here on NEO. Now, not as clean as AMC was. AMC was very clean, following the moving averages. Very easy to take a trade on that one. This one was a little bit tougher because it did give you a couple of fake outs. Even this one here, looking like it was holding the VWAP, but then it collapses. Then from here on, it becomes a clear short all the way up to 1 o'clock, 12 o'clock in the afternoon. So that was nice there on NEO. Here was Apple. Now, Apple had a great pre-market action. Beautiful pre-market action. But as far as the intraday, at least on the 5 minute, it was brutal. You got a couple of quick drops on here. Sold off pretty bad at the market open. Brian was calling this one out. It's just looking very weak, and so was Thor. And you can see here. But again, if you're looking for a pattern on the 5, you are not going to get one very easily, which is very choppy at times. You did get a couple of breakouts here, as you saw on 10:05 and also 11:05. But aside from that, very difficult to trade Apple yesterday. Here's LI. LI was complete just trash, guys. It just didn't get the volume, didn't trade well, so not really anything that looked good. CCL, on the other hand, this was another AMC type play where, again, it popped up a little bit above the VWAP and then just collapsed, continues to sell off nicely the entire day. American Airlines was the same thing as well. A quick pop early on and then just continues to sell off, hanging on to this 9 moving average, and just a beautiful sell-off the entire day on American Airlines as well. So again, some really good short opportunities here that we saw yesterday. Hopefully we're able to take advantage of some of those good trading stocks. Quick recap of what's coming up for the markets as far as News.
Yeah, I'm not going to dig in too deep into the markets. We are up a little bit. Like you said, yesterday was an absolute chop fest. At least the beginning part of the day, and then there was kind of a downward trend. I had a small Microsoft trade, a short, caught it, decently, and I got out way too early because if I'd have just sat on it through the end of the day, it would have been beautiful. Anyway, up a little bit this morning, but things look pretty choppy with the SPY just oscillating back and forth on the 5 minutes in a pretty fairly wide range too. So I apologize this morning. I am going to be a little bit behind. For some reason, Trade Ideas decided to give me half real tickers and then half garbage. I kept pulling things up and it had no volume, like literally not a share traded, and it said there was 1 million on the deal, but some of them were real. So I had to reset and restart and do all that a couple of times, and now I think I've got a real list here, but I'm a little bit behind. As far as data, durable goods orders and core capital goods orders came out just a couple of minutes ago at 8:30. We've got market manufacturing and services PMI at 9:45. Of course, we've got the second day of testimony from Jay Powell and Janet Yellen. And then we've also got a bunch of various Fed speakers that are scattered in different speeches throughout the day. So that's what we got going on.
All right, excellent. Thank you, Nor.
Yeah, guys, okay, I'm glad I'm not the only one. I couldn't figure out what in the world was going on. I updated DAS yesterday. I thought maybe it was DAS that was giving me improper data, but it turns out I think it was indeed Trade Ideas, and I think I've got it fixed now, but I can't possibly catch up in the time I need to.
Right. Does your look still this big as mine does here? Does mine look somewhere near correct?
I think you're correct. I think you're correct.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, we'll go through. We definitely have a lot of low flows today on both sides of the
I'm not sure I'm correct though. So.
Okay. We definitely.
And I know I ain't right.
Yeah. We definitely have a lot of low flows, guys. A lot of yellow in here on our low flow indicator. So again, just a lot hanging out below that 20 million mark that we like to see. A whole bunch of stuff here this morning. So very, very interesting. Let's look at the top 5. We're gonna definitely need your help today, guys, because we have an entire list here. Starting with gapping up, HOFV. This one here is up 72%, 37 million shares flow. So it's not a low flow stock. 18.9 million shares flow traded so far. So pretty decent volume there. As far as pre-market action, we're kind of just moving sideways here. Not a whole lot going on in the last couple of minutes. Could be interesting. Let's get rid of our watch list from yesterday here. Let's make some rooms. We'll make some new rows, and we'll put this one as a possible. I'm not a big fan of the way this stocks looks at the moment. As HOFV, 18 million. Again, they're daily. A little bit of a pop in the last couple of days. They're up 71%. So let's keep it on here. It's not a low flow stock, but let's see what's happening today with that.
So that HOFV and the second one DLPN, those are getting into some kind of a deal together. That, of course, is NFT.
Oh, they are. Okay.
Involving NFTs, yeah.
Although HOFV does not look too bad as far as managing your risk on this one. Doesn't look like it's moves a whole lot. So that could be okay. DLPN is a whole different story now. We're seeing a very, very big spread on this one. And you can tell some of these candles are $2, $1.50 easily. So that one could be a little more risky. HOFV, not so much.
The float definitely is coming into play there with 37 million on HOFV and Dolphin at 5.3.
Yep. Thank you for pointing that out. That makes a good point. So I'm going to put DLPN as a low flow stock here. We'll keep HOFV as a secondary for now because I think it looks okay. If it trades well, right now it's a little bit choppy the last couple of minutes. Let's see if that's going to get a little better there. We know about ZKIN, guys. Again, this is a TCAT and all these type of stocks. Again, be careful. They're going to be very active. And you see this pop this morning, 30%, 1.2 million shares traded. These are very, very low flow stocks. So ZKIN is definitely in play this morning, 1.2. Again, just be very, very careful with this one. All right, heading on down, more low flow stocks. AUVI, this one's popping up 30%. No volume though. Volume is key, guys. And the two that we have down here, we have 3.8, 1.2 million. We have 151 on this one. It's got to get a little better than that. UGRO, for the most part, also another low flow, 3.2, 658, up 15.6. But again, not looking all that great at the moment compared to these other two that we have down here. PLBI, 10 million shares flow, and this one needs volume, doesn't have it right now. We'll quickly skip on that one. FREQ, we looked at this in the past before. Actually, yesterday, this was gapping down huge yesterday. I think it was like something like 70%. I forget the number, but it was pretty big. Today, they are up 13.3, 474,000 shares traded. Let's take a look at how this thing traded. I took it off my list because I was concerned with the daily wasn't getting a lot of volume, and you could tell here it did, it did trend it down here, but again you could tell that the price action was not great the way these candles are being built next to each other here. So you can tell that there were better stocks like AMC, for example, had a beautiful pre-market, intraday action. You could have traded that instead of this and probably got the same size move here. And there were many others that sold off as we mentioned. Again, you had that first hour or so that was very choppy, and then later in the day a lot of good sell-off were happening. So I'm not a fan of it now. It is up 13.3, 13.8, 477. Maybe a good possible. Let's see if it has the strength to start closing this gap, but I'm definitely not in our main list this morning. CAN today. Now this was another one that also sold off pretty good yesterday. We didn't have it on our list, but I did saw a couple of people mentioning it in the chat room. Right now it is up 12.8, 909. This is a Bitcoin play. We love the daily on this one, if you guys remember that. Let's keep an eye on this one. Let's see what happens today. 909,000, up 12.8 this morning. Pre-market action, okay. I do love the daily. We're getting a bit of a bounce of this area here where we have some resistance and support in the past. Let's see if that's going to hold today. EBON, what do we have? It's up 7.5, 711,000 shares traded. Pre-market action, okay, a little bit of a bounce yesterday. Again, we're going to see a lot of that because the sell-offs in the last couple of days, you're going to start seeing some stocks bouncing a little bit here, right? They're overextended, definitely oversold. This one is one of them for the last couple of days. So pre-market action, I'm not a fan of right now. Let's keep it on here. We'll come back to that. We'll see if it gets a little better. Riot, another Bitcoin type play here. We can also look at Mara. All of these are bouncing back a bit today. I like CAN this morning. I think this one has the cleanest daily for sure. And their pre-market action is okay. We'll see what we can get out of that one. So out of those, pick the best one you like as far as when it comes to these Bitcoin type plays. Lissy is here, 10 million shares float, but again, the volume is not there, guys. We want to see great volume on anything under 20 million. That doesn't have it. Mara, we just talked about. Let's scroll down. I'm going to stop here. Is there anything else here, maybe with a catalyst? Let's see. What do we have? INTC. I know Jared was talking about this earlier in the chat room on INTC. Do we have anything going on with or just overall tech possible bounce, right?
Yeah, no. INTC actually does have big news. They came out, they're talking about a plan. They got a new CEO not long ago. They'd been they used to be dominant in their industry. AMC's taken them over. It's been kind of a sad ordeal for the last few years for INTC. Got a new CEO recently. That CEO is talking about some new plans to reinvent INTC to get into other fields that they haven't been in, and manufacturing and building some plants and all kinds of stuff. Did I say AMC? I said AMD, right? Or did I say
you said AMD, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
The first time you said AMD.
Yeah, that's what I meant to say. All right. So anyway, so big news there, and seeing a little pop on it this morning. It's going to take a while. I think it's like 2024 is when they think that actual product that they're targeting can start production. But anyway.
Yeah. So good daily, good pop after dropping down so much yesterday here. So they're up 3.7. Let's see what they got some volume this morning, 1.3. And this is the best pre-market action you're going to get out of INTC. They usually do not trade all that well in the pre-market, but this is looking really good this morning for them. All right, let's head on down. What else do we have in here? Any stocks that we might like? CCL. Let's see what the travel sector is doing. Again, a bit of a bounce on the travel sector. I wouldn't mind watching CCL today. We'll throw American Airlines here to just kind of cover those two for the most part. American Airlines also getting a bit of a bounce here, 2.2 this morning, 672. Again, a lot of sell-off in the last couple of days. You are going to see a lot of them with this little bit of a bounce today. I wouldn't mind seeing what goes on there. NCLH, I'll watch CCL instead, but NCLH is another one you can also keep an eye on. Heading on down, you got American, you got United down here, you got fuel cells, one that we looked at in the past quite a bit. They don't have great volume today. They've just been consolidating though between this 1377 and this 15, so that looks good. Hopefully that'll be in play later down the line for either a drop, a loss of this level here, support, or a pop. That'll be nice. But right now, pre-market is very light as far as value. Let's take a look what's gapping down, and let's see here. We start with Eyes. Eyes was a great player a couple of weeks ago, guys. Had a beautiful run up here on these 3 days, and that traded very well. Great intraday action. Today they're down 25.2, 1.2 million shares traded. I gotta say that this pre-market action does look a little bit interesting. We do have shares for short. We lost a great level of support here at 11. So we'll take a look. What's the float on this though? 6.2. So it's going to have to come down here on the low flow team. Let's take a look at BNTC. Also, again, tons of low flow stock, guys. We're going to try to go through these pretty quickly. They have to look great and have great volume. For example, BNTC does not look great at the moment. They don't have a whole lot of volume, only 441. Now, does that mean that this stock cannot become explosive and trade well? It does. And if you have room in your watch list, by all means, you can do that. You can put it on there. But I just want to see something that's already moving right now. These here we can catch in our scanners later on. Maybe a high of day bull flag forming or breakout. We can do that as well. BAK, this one is no volume here. I'm not sure what this is even on here. I'm not seeing no volume at all. Maybe a block trade. But again, nothing happening there. Norm, is this the stuff you was?
That's some of the garbage that got thrown into my TI. So yes, you're getting some of it too.
So I got some of that. We'll get through them quickly.
Sorry for yelling.
No, it's all good, man. I feel you. Here's GameStop. Now, GameStop had earnings after hours last night, right? You can see here the madness. Yes. They are down 13.3401. Again, how was the numbers on the earnings, Norm? Do you know?
Not great. I think mostly that a couple of things. They're talking about a secondary to raise money for their turnaround. That's one part of the issue that we're seeing this morning. And then the people trading this and holding this for long periods of time are talking about a turnaround story more focused on web-based stuff. And my understanding, having not listened to the call, I can just pick up on articles and stuff and blurbs that I read about the call, that they didn't outline, they didn't give a whole lot of detail for their transformation plan. So they're getting hit a little bit this morning on those two things, really.
Yeah, so not looking good this morning. Again, still a very risky stock to trade, guys, so be very careful. I'm not going to have it on my list. I think we got better stuff to look at. Here's TCAT. They are down 13.5. Again, another one of these NFTs you have to be careful with. Not a whole lot of volume today, so be careful with that one if you do decide to look into that one. PLL, this one, 172,000. Pre-market action looks horrible, though, and their daily doesn't look great, does not get great volume, looks like here, even when it has great moves. So I'm concerned with that. Their spread not looking bad right now, but their pre-market action is just brutal. You can see some of these candles can easily be $1 and change. So I'm not a fan of that at the moment. And also low flow stock at 10.2. So not good there. SGC also, okay, it's one of those garbage stocks too that doesn't have anything. AVNW, another one here. All right, so I'm getting a lot of the crap that Norm was talking about as well. All right, so with that said, we're going to stop here. Let's take it over to our chat room, guys. What do you guys like this morning? Hans, let's start with you. AMD, let's go here. What do we have? AMD right now, 456,000 shares traded. At the moment, they are okay pre-market action. We've seen better for sure. I like their daily, though. Their daily, trying to hold on to this previous day close line here. We did dip lower, 77.17 low of the pre-market. We'll mark that down now since we're talking about it. Could be interesting. And again, the tech area is going to be exciting to watch in the next couple of days, see what we're going to get here. We'll put AMD down for now. Heading up, we do have a PLTR. Let's see there. Again, PLTR, a very, very difficult stock to trade. How has it been doing the last couple of days? I have not been watching their price action. And I won't give them too much credit for this because everything did that yesterday, that drop there. So their pre-market right now, 761,000, up 1%. Not looking great, though. I mean, it's a hit or miss, guys. We'll put it as a possible. We'll come back to that one. Heading down, we have lost my spot here. Let's go back up. MP. Is this what is this? This is a foreign stock. It looks foreign. Doesn't look cleaned on the daily. Very, very choppy, guys. Right now, pre-market action down 3.9 on 1.2 million shares traded. Decent pre-market action. It's not bad. I do like the daily that of the level here, right? Although this is choppy, this level here, this previous day close, we're losing that. Let's get more info on that company. What's the float on this too? MP. We are looking at 101.
This is if this one recently came out from a SPAC.
Oh, okay. All right. You know what? Let's give it a shot. Their pre-market action is not bad. Their daily is very wacky here, guys. So let's see. Their pre-market action, though, just looking at that at the moment, looks good. Down 4.1, 1.2 million.
Maybe I'm wrong.
It is a nicey stock.
It's weird, dude.
Yeah. All right. We'll keep
I'm not
it on
liking
here.
it myself. But
You don't like it yourself? Yeah, so maybe we'll take it off. Norm doesn't like it. I don't like it. VIAC. This one, guys, this is the one that went crazy. If you guys remember, the beginning of this year, end of last year, this thing just took off and went from like $20 right over to 100 and something. So they are down huge today. 8.5, 4.2 million shares traded. Now this bad boy, guys, this thing can move. I mean, a matter of seconds, you could be, this can drop or pop $2, $3 like it's nobody's business. So be very, very careful. I think it is in play today. I like the fact that we're losing this area here at $90. That was a great area of support. Even after this beautiful run, it found support there. It looks like it was consolidating. Bad day yesterday, another bad day today. So pretty good so far as that. What's the float on this one? And
big.
It's not a low flow stock, right?
That's CVS.
Is this CVS? This one?
Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that. All right, look at that. All right, cool. Let's put that on. Do they have a catalyst? Do we know? They're definitely down nicely this morning.
They're just massively. They're up massively. They had an offering, like Megan said. They're pulling. I mean, that just the run that they've had has been huge. So
yeah. I agree with that. The run's just been amazing. Here's Microsoft, guys. Again, the tech plays, right? We have a couple of those. I have AMD here. I have INTC, which obviously has its own thing going on right now. Microsoft, I'm not seeing anything great as far as volume, but I wouldn't put too much weight on this because we saw it a couple of days ago not have any pre-market activity. And again, just this whole tech sector has been very active. So if you have room for it, throw it on your list. I'm not going to watch it. I'm going to watch instead AMD and INTC for today for my tech stocks. And it will probably look at Apple as well. Apple's a great one. They're going to get great volume. They're going to be very have some good movement if they're going to be in play today. Right? If they're going to be not in play, but if they're going to be moving with the market or the tech sector at all, if that's going to be a thing today. All right, heading down, we do have AMD, so that's good. HOFV has good news, has volume. Yeah, we do have that one. That one is right on here, guys. We have 21 million. Again, pretty good there, up 80%. That is very, very nice. Apple, I do have CAN. Yep, I do have that one as well. INTC is good. All right, good, guys. So we're kind of covering the same thing here. JR, I missed you. Let's see here. ZKIN. That one we do have. That's a low flow stock. That's sitting down here, guys, looking very explosive right now. Just be very, very mindful. This NFTs here. You have DLMP as well, which is you want to be careful, up 66%. We have EYES, which is dropping down on short selling restriction here. Might not be a good one today, though. We'll have to see. We'll come back and look at that one more time. All right, let's take a look over in our YouTube chat. And for those that are watching, at the bottom ticker, our red banner here with the news, it is something's wrong with it. It's frozen. So we'll check with our tech guys what's going on there. So if you see the same ticker there, it's not that you're missing the turn. Every time you look up, it's the same news, right? So it's frozen there. We'll figure that out. All right, let's look at MVIS. We'll start with you here. MVIS, what do we have? No volume, guys, right? You want to have volume. We're not seeing that right now. Their dailies has been consolidating here for the most part, but as far as right now, pre-market action, not much going on there. PLTR, we do have that one on deck, guys. I'm just concerned how choppy this can be. And I agree with you, Darko. It has not been great. It has been trash. So, but it has those days where you look at it and just like, wow, why was I not watching this one? AMC, we do have it on deck. Exactly, right? It trades well when you're not watching it. So AMC, Sometimes.
I've never seen it trade well.
No, we had some pretty good trades on it. Rarely, very rarely. AMC, where's AMC? I thought we had it on here. I thought we had. I know we spoke about it. Maybe it was supposed to be up here. Yeah, but I know we won AMC. Yeah, AMC is good today, guys. Beautiful pop this morning, up 2%. Although the percentage is not showing it. This thing was down huge, right down 979 here. Trying to stay above this area of support and resistance. This previous day close line. We'll see what happens there. So AMC is good. MP we did look at. Did we put it on? Yeah, we put MP on here, guys. I do like the pre-market action. We might move this one up. Let's keep an eye on it. Let's see what's going on there. CIDM, more of a penny stock, so I don't like this one. It used to be trading under $1. I'm gonna skip on this, guys. Heading on down. APTO, what do we have? This one's up 43%, 4.5 million shares float. I'm sorry, million shares traded. APTO at the moment, it is a 81 million shares float right now, so not bad. Let's take a look at that. Not a low flow stock. Usually you got to be careful. Some of these higher flow stocks that are lower price are difficult to trade at the market open. We'll see how that's going to turn out. BNGO here. Let's take a look. My dash is taking a little bit to get going this morning. See how long it's taking to load here. BNGO. Oh, there it goes.
There you go.
All right, BNGO. Let's take a look, guys. What do we have? Choppy pre-market action today. I don't like what I'm seeing at the moment. Yeah, I don't like BNGO today. We'll skip on that one. GIS. What do we have? GIS. No volume, guys. Is this Adobe ADB? If it is, it doesn't trade
ADBE.
well.
Yeah, it can be
ADB.
tough.
Yeah, it's a
got
great
news,
swing
like,
trade.
It's got news, but it is tough to trade intraday.
Yeah,
Usually has a pretty big spread.
Yeah.
And it kind of chops around even in trends.
Yeah, and the part of the reason that's the volume, guys. Look at the volume here, right? I'll give you an example. On this day here, we moved from 420, looks like, all the way to 440, right? So, and we're doing that with 3.9 million, right? So you just imagine how the price action is going to be. It's not going to be as liquid as we'd like to see for the way we want to trade. All right, let's take a look at a few more, guys, and we'll call it here. BLNK, nope, no good there. Neo, yes, they're looking good. Their daily looks better than what their pre-market does right now. You can see their daily is again slamming down against this great level here of support, guys. That's a beautiful thing. You know what? Maybe a good possible. I would love to, they're not in play right now. You can tell the volume is not there. They're only up 1%, but I would love for them to break this down here. That would be nice to see if that's going to happen today. I would love to see if it can run towards some of these levels down here, 38, 36. That would be great. All right, let's stop here, guys. Let's take a look at our announcements, community events, and we'll come back and fine-tune this list.
All right. Last night we had Eamon's webinar. The recording of that should be soon. Next week, 8 p.m. Eastern, Tuesday, we've got Mike talking about transitioning from sim to live, or if you need to take a break and go back over things and go from live to sim, stuff like that. That'll be at 8 p.m. next Tuesday. Our town hall with Dr. Katz is tonight. We'll have two traders from the chat and him kind of in a group format. People can listen in, ask questions about their successes and failures during their trading journey. That'll be tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern. And then next week, we've got Mike with his Psychology Module 1 talking about defining yourself as a trader. If you want to participate in the member trade of the day, trade of the week, take a screenshot of your best trade of the day with entries and exits, and then put any commentary you can on strategy and everything else. Post it on Twitter, tagging at Bearable Traders, at MikeB_BBT, and at NormBBT. Also use hashtags BBT Family, Day Trading, and Stock Market. We'll announce the winner for Trade of the Day each afternoon in the closing bell show and on Twitter, and then we'll vote. The team will vote over the weekend amongst those winners from each day and pick the trade of the week, which will be announced on Monday. If you're watching us on YouTube and haven't been in the chat, would like to give it a try, use the promo code PREMARKET24. That'll give you 7 calendar days, 5 trading days in the chat, after which it expires and goes away. Doesn't auto renew or turn into any other kind of membership. Also gives you access to Carlos's onboarding class each and every Monday night, live 8 p.m. Eastern, followed by Kyle's new tech class. And then we still have the promo code LUCK40 active for 40% off the annual Elite membership.
All right, thank you very much, Norm. Okay, guys, let's get to it. Let's start with our watch list here. Let's go ahead and start with AMC this morning. Again, I think they have an amazing pre-market action there. Daily also looks very interesting, guys. Getting a bit of a bounce here. So we'll look at that one. CAN pre-market action is okay. I like their daily as well. We'll keep that one on deck. INTC is good. From the travel sector, I will watch CCL. AMD's okay, and VIAC is also good. I love this drop here. Let's look at our secondary, see if we find anything that's looking better. APTO, good pre-market action. Apple is good. Apple could be actually better than AMD, I think. Let's move down AMD. AMD could be a secondary. I think Apple would be a better one to watch. They had a beautiful pre-market action yesterday, but man, their intraday action was horrible. So hopefully that can be better today. We have American Airlines down here. We'll take a look at that. The last couple of 2 days traded very, very well towards the bottom. HOFV. I like this pop here. I'm just concerned how this stock is going to trade at this price level. So we'll keep it on the secondary for now. FREQ. I love the drop here. Possible continuation today to either to downside or to start closing this gap. But you know what? Based on everything else we have here today, I'm going to take it off. We can look for that one in our scanners if it does hit there. EBON, I like the bounce we're getting here. Pre-market action is not so great. PLTR, you know what? They don't have an excellent pre-market action. I would love for them to drop here. We'll take it off. We know PLTR. If PLTR starts hitting that turbo breakdown scan, we can take advantage of it. MP, I do like the pre-market action. Very active this morning. Their daily's okay, so. Not too excited about that, but we'll keep it on here. And I do like NEO's daily. I love this level we have here on NEO. This thing can go both ways. We can get a bit of a bounce here this morning, or if we can drop below this, it'll be nice to see a run towards the bottom. So, all right, I think our list looks okay. It's not a blockbuster list like we're used to seeing, but not too bad. Let's do levels here, guys. AMC high of the pre-market sitting at the moment at 1101, so we'll throw a level there. Below that, we do have a pre-market low here at 974. So again, nice run up this morning, beautiful bounce. And look at that 974. No coincidence, this thing is at a level of resistance and prior support. Look at these couple of days just banging their heads against this previous day close line. Actually, the pre-market high 1101 and this 974. So that's pretty neat there. Towards the bottom, if we were to lose that, we do have a clear level down here, guys, 752. In between here, we have another level at 928. 928, great area of resistance. Got a couple of days showing support there as well. Now towards the top, guys, above this pre-market high, 1101. Tons of highs and lows from the last two trading days. I don't think you need to add any more there. Here, CAN. Again, I like the pre-market action. I like the daily high of the pre-market right now, 24.66. We'll throw a level there. Above that, you have the highs from 2 days ago. A great level there around at that 27.24, so that's good. And then above that, on the daily, you see one here at 32, obviously all the way up here at 37. I don't think we'll get there today, but we'll be ready if it does. If it starts getting above this 27.32, that's a target we would love to see. We can start going in here looking at 28.30 and so. Towards the bottom, guys, highs and lows from the last two trading days, previous day close, and I think you're covered there. Another great level down here. I'm just going to mark it down in case this thing does decide to dive. I don't think we'll get to 17.19, but if it does go below 20, that could be interesting. INTC this morning did break out of this beautiful consolidation the last couple of, 6 days or so. 67.66 is the high of the pre-market. The low all the way down at 65.30. So pre-market action very active. 1.6 this morning. They do have news here. They're up for 3.8 right now after a nice red day yesterday. Let's see how that's going to trade out today. So that's looking good, very active. CCL for the most part. I'm watching this. This is more of a possible. Again, but I don't see anything better that looks better than this right now. So I'm going to put it on here. I'm going to remove some of the levels we have. We'll do some fresh ones. High of the pre-market sitting right at 26.36. We'll mark that down. The low of the pre-market slightly above the previous day close at 25.48. And then the previous day close up right after that down there. So that's pretty good. If we were to lose the previous day close, 24.60, 24.70. 2470, great level there, support and resistance just in case we lose this. Great. This is a great level of support, by the way. That's not going to be an easy one to lose. You can see how many times we have bounced from that. And the one time we dropped, look how quickly we recover back above that previous day close line. VIAC, again, I love the drop on this one, guys. There, lost is great area consolidation, but under support line, that previous day close line there. 86.50 high of the pre-market, there, low of the pre-market, sitting down at 83. On the dot there. If we were to lose that, the great levels down here at 78, and we also have another one down here at 74. Towards the top, you have your previous day close and the highs and lows from the last 2 trading days here, creating some great levels of resistance if this thing does decide to head higher. Here's Apple, very active this morning. Well, not this morning, just right now, starting to drop here, 575. I do like the daily here, just wrapping around this previous day close line. As far as levels, we're pretty much stuck between the highs and lows of the last 2 trading days. And I love this drop here. If we're to go red, we got a beautiful drop here towards this level, which is the low from 2 days ago right on there. So I don't think you need to add anything more in Apple. I think you're pretty much covered. Your low is the previous day close. Yeah, everything is set here. So you're good there. All right, guys, let's take a look at our moderators, see what they like this morning. Again, another list that's not great today. Let's see what our moderators have. So we'll bring this over here. There we go. So here's Thor. He's watching INTC, VIAC, DLPN, Microsoft. You know, if the tech is going to be strong, Microsoft is a good one. CCL if the SPY goes weak. Yeah, I do like CCL as well for that. John doesn't like anything at all right now. And again, that's the type of morning we're looking at. I do have 6 stocks here, guys, but again, they are not great today. Here's Peter. IPOs, ACVA, DOCN, DRS. Coming out today. Tiffany is looking at INTC, CAN, and VIAC. Dima, she likes nothing right now, and that's okay, guys. You know, there's not a lot that looks great today, so you got to be patient and wait for things to develop. So quick recap. AMC looks good, guys. Pre-market action very active. CAN, I do like this one on the daily, getting a bit of a nice bounce there. INTC, it's okay for a possible tech play today. CCL, would love to see this lose this level, as Thor was mentioning as well. VIAC, I love this drop. Let's see what this is going to do today. Down 8.1, that's good. And Apple is another tech play I'm watching as well today. All right, we got a few more coming in. We have Peter, he's watching AMD, INTC, VIAC, secondary HOFB, DLPN, and CAN, and Apple. And then Jared, he's watching INTC, CAN, and maybe some GameStop there after reporting last night. So also watching the energy sector here for Jared as a possible bottoming play. Brian is looking VIAC, ZKIN, CAN, and also HOFV this morning for Brian. All right, guys, that is what we have. Again, quick today, right? I'm not excited about much here at the moment. So we'll have to see. I mean, AMC looks good. I like their pre-market action, but they could be so tricky at times to trade. So let's see if they're going to take this beautiful trading they have in the pre-market into the market open. CAN, I do love this bounce they're getting on the daily. This morning they've been pretty beat up, so hopefully this bounce can get some legs and get going. Looking at the SPY, right, will be important for this because they're going to need the SPY's hub to get going. The SPY starts dropping. We've seen what happened yesterday too. Once that starts happening, a lot of stocks follow suit, and we've seen that in the last couple of days. So be mindful of that as well. All right, that is what we have. Take care, guys. Trade safe. Brian is up next. He's going to walk us through his watches and what he likes this morning. As you can see, his watch is very tight today, only 4 tickers, and that is the type of day that is. So be very careful. Be patient. Do not force anything today, guys. And you notice the pattern the last couple of days, right? That first hour and a half. Nora, you mentioned this. You know, you're getting this chop just all over the place. So, you know, don't hesitate to wait, wait in 30 minutes, wait an hour for things to settle down and you to be able to find your opportunities. You know, that's not something that's, it's difficult to do, but it's something that it's not uncommon to do in this type of markets, right? So be mindful of that. Norm, I see you moving, but you're on mute.
Oh yeah. Sorry. We're way early, so
yeah,
I thought I'd expand on what you were. Yeah, I thought you were. I would expand on what you were saying there. Brian mentioned it yesterday. He and I kind of chatted about it for a moment between our mic time when I was coming on and he was hopping off. And that just is, you have to adapt to changes in the market, and that's part of why it takes so long to learn how to effectively trade. You have to go through different experiences in the market and different ways that it acts. And one of those is these choppy times. You can find things. There are always stocks to trade. It's very rare that you're really in a situation where there's nothing out there. You just have to find the right things. And some days it's a little bit harder. And you get in those choppy times. And, you know, one of the things that I adjust on that is getting in and out a little bit quicker than I usually would, because I know that a trend is not going to, you know, the follow through you might have at some time is not going to be the same. So
yeah, that is so true, and nothing more frustrating than being in a good trade that, you know, you're up a little bit that you wish you would have taken out and just comes right back, right? So you got to understand the market condition that you're in, and that's definitely it. So be mindful of that as well. All right, guys, we're done a little bit
Ted,
early.
I want to answer. So Ted's asking, is this, and there might be other people asking this, but he's new to the YouTube. So he's asking if this, what we're broadcasting on YouTube, is the same as in the chat. And the answer is yes and no. So the YouTube that you're on now is our pre-market show that we air live. Now the YouTube will cut off here in a few minutes. It's usually about 9:15 Eastern, 15 minutes before the market opens. The chat room continues throughout the rest of the day, live trading, different moderators, all kinds of different stuff. But so yes, for this portion of time, it's the same. We're rebroadcasting what we do in the chat. But then this will go away here in a few minutes, and the chat room will be open. As I mentioned, you know, watch us in the pre-market show here a few times. But if you'd like to, you can use the promo code premarket24, and that gets you access to the whole chat room all day long for 7 days.
Yeah, absolutely, and also the onboarding class as well. That
No,
Mike
of course.
and I do. Yeah. So, guys, take care. Make sure you hit that thumbs up over on YouTube. Norm and I really appreciate it.
And the technology class, don't leave Kyle out.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Let's add the technology class. You get that completely
On Monday nights.
with your intro membership on Monday nights, which is, again, it's a ton of information. Great stuff happening there. So, guys, take advantage of that. Again, it's for the amount that it is so worth it. Give it a shot. See if this thing is the right thing for you. All right, guys, take care. Trade safe, and we will see you guys tomorrow at 8 a.m. with Jared, engineering the markets, and then followed by Norm and I for the pre-market show. Have a good one, everyone.
Take care, guys. Trade safe.